I'm Vin.
I'm Sori.
That's Bowie.
And Vita and Chip and Culpy.
I don't even know where Bowie is.
Oh, he's in our room.
What a strange world. This is weird. This feels weird to me.
Uh-huh.
Alright. David Bowie Space Oddity. We came back from NAMM. So that's coming up pretty soon.
That's completed. We just have to look at it.
Yeah, as far as the end product, it's completed. We just got to take a look at it. So we're gonna upload the video diary of NAMM. We'll probably put that on your channel too, like a double dip.
Sure.
I think your folks might be interested in it. And then we've got some B-roll or side footage or whatever. I don't know where we're gonna do it.
Well, I recorded some stuff that we did like throughout the time, so that will be uploaded on My Story Life.
Middle America. If you want to get mad, you know there's certain topics that we have to talk about. So. Don't even get mad. Once you see the title, it is what it is, ladies and gentlemen. You don't have to look. Okay, but this you do have to look at. Space Oddity, David Bowie. So David Bowie, I guess Nirvana, you know the man who ate the world or something like that?
Yeah.
I guess that was written by this guy.
Oh, really?
And then Under Pressure, you know, the live version that we did, we should have done the recorded version because it had this guy on it.
Oh, okay.
It's time for this man to get the credit he deserves.
Have his debut.
Yeah,
on our channel.
Apparently, Space Oddity is a really big thing of his. So here we are.
I've got.
What? What are you doing?
There. I had I was doing school with Sayla on this computer, and so it was playing like the little music that goes in the background of her Mac.
I was like, what is this dumbness? Okay, you ready?
And
go!
Ground control to Major Tom. Ground control to Major Tom. Take your protein pills and put your helmet on. Ground control to Major Tom. 8, 7, 6. Commencing countdown, engines on. 3, 2. Check ignition and may God's love be with you. This is ground control to Major Tom. You've really made the grade, and the papers want to know whose shirts you wear. Now it's time to leave the capsule if you dare. This is Major Tom to ground control. I'm stepping through the door. Floating in the most peculiar way, and the stars look very different today. For here am I sitting in a tin can, far above the world. Planet Earth is blue, and there's nothing I can do.
Well, I'll tell you, I would not be so calm if all of a sudden I was in outer space and lost contact with people on Earth.
Yeah. That was actually one of my fears as a kid. Something that used to scare me is, what if you were in space and then you got disconnected and then you were just floating off by yourself into space? That thought used to scare the hell out of me when I was a kid.
Well, that is.
I used to think about that as irrational because I would never put myself in a situation where I was up in space. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
it's a scary idea.
Oh, that's a terrifying idea.
You know.
How long would you last for where you were just floating into...
Well, that's the thing, is like, then I think to myself, well, maybe you die really quickly. And I'm like, you know, it's the feeling of like not being, because, you know, in space they're all floaty. That's the thing that's like...
No gravity.
You know, like in the concept of the abyss, or I think there's some translation of like the bottomless pit or something like that.
Well, I was thinking about, you remember on Get Out?
Yeah, the sunken place.
The sunken place. It was like that.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's this place called the bottomless pit. I think it's abusos, like the abyss, I think is the Greek term for it. But this idea of a bottomless pit, like if you think about a bottomless pit, like you're just basically suspended in space, basically.
Yeah. I always used to think of it being dark. I'm not sure why, but bottomless pit is actually much scarier than darkness.
Right, because you're just...
There's nothing grounding. You're never getting to the bottom.
Yeah, you're just falling, floating, basically. Hovering or whatever. So that concept was like a really crazy concept to me that, you know.
Yikes.
What if you were just completely detached and untethered? It's one of those things like, you know, the thing that we take for granted like crazy is gravity.
Yeah.
We take gravity for granted. It's ridiculous.
We totally do.
It really, you know, of course.
Yeah, because every time you take a step, you assume it's going to set down in the next location.
Yeah. You know, and sometimes, you know, gravity giveth and gravity taketh away, right? Yep. Because, you know, we were up in a plane 30,000 feet above the air yesterday. So, you know, at that point, gravity's not your friend. I wasn't thinking, man, I wish we had some gravity right now. I'm not a fan of flying. I don't like flying at all. But
we still had gravity in the plane, though, because, you know, we were just floating around the plane, bumping into each other, you know? Yeah,
but I'd rather that than the other situation.
Yeah.
But, it's a crazy idea that, you know, the fact that people, like, so there's like this space tourism thing about to start happening. I'm good, man. I'm good, family. I'm all right.
You know what's funny? Our fears are different on that. I don't want to be like trapped inside of a small space. Like I have a hard enough time on the airplane.
Right.
You know, on the flight back, when all of a sudden I got that video and Sale looked like she felt like she was crying and all that.
Yeah.
That was it for me.
Yeah.
All of a sudden I felt like everything was getting tight and...
Yeah. What's interesting about this song also is that what?
How long will people be gone for?
What do you mean? I don't know.
You don't know, okay. Alright, so what was interesting?
It's just people with a bunch of money and not knowing what to do with it, I think. There's a bunch of homeless people right now that are in serious trouble in the Midwest. Right. Because they've got these 10 people froze to death, I heard last night.
Oh.
Yeah, it's no joke over there. So maybe they could take some of that space money and we can help these people out. But it was weird because it had a kind of Pink Floyd vibe to it.
I absolutely thought that when it started. I was like...
So then I'm like, this is some Dark Side of the Moon shit. And then I went to check on the dates. Dark Side of the Moon came out in the 70s. This came out in 69. So
yeah. Really?
Yeah. So I don't really know if I was disappointed or if I was like, well, you know, this guy influenced them or whatever. But he's got that vocal style kind of like the dude from Pink Floyd, where it's just like this kind of chill, kind of hypnotic.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
When I first came to America, like, there was this kind of feeling about space and space travel and aliens and things like that, and it kind of brought me back to that thing, you know, that it's so hard. It's hard to explain because I'm not going to do it any justice, but you know when you're a kid and you really think that an alien could come and put you on a ship and you go.
No, I never thought that.
I used to read this book, My Teacher's an Alien, or something like that.
Yeah.
And it was a really, interesting book because, aliens come and there were good aliens or bad aliens and bring you to the whatever. And so, like, space travel was like a cool idea, back then. But yeah. And of course, this is the 60s, which is interesting because in 1969, that's when we had our first moon landing, I'm pretty sure. But you don't believe we landed on the moon, so.
I'm not convinced.
Do you, what's the percentage? Like, 0 is we definitely didn't land on the moon. 10 is we absolutely landed on the moon. Where are you?
4.9.
Oh my gosh. So it's more likely than not that we didn't land on the moon.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it.
That is bonkers, bro. That is absolutely bonkers.
Well,
Jeez, bro. That is crazy to me.
No, I don't believe people. And then when they came back, their interviews...
They were being a bit weird, but they were out in space. I mean, what do you expect them to...
Yeah.
All right. So, I'm pretty much a 9 point.
And I feel like that's pretty insulting if people did actually go, like, to have people saying, I don't know if you did something as amazing as that.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, guys. We got this nasty cold when we were traveling.
Okay, so take your protein pills, put your helmet on, and then there's that countdown. He was able to do the countdown, while he's singing, which I thought was pretty cool how he moved that in there.
It's so weird because I can't get past the fact that he's done. He's getting left out there. Like they lost contact.
Well, I mean, we don't know. Maybe he pops up in the next song or something like that and somebody finds a way to bring him back. But this is Ground Control to Major Tom. You've really made the grade and the papers want to know whose shirt you wear.
Is that just like because people just want to copy you? Is it as simple as that? Like they literally want to know whose shirt?
I don't know whose shirt, if that's like a political thing, like, because remember we were in a space race with the Russians? Mm-hmm. So it's like, maybe it's a political, like, who are you with? Is it the Russians? Is it going to be the Americans? Because this was published in 1969, so this is July 1969, so at minimum we can assume it was written, like, in that whole milieu, so maybe it's like, are you an American or are you Russian? Maybe he's thinking somebody's gonna do it, between the Americans or Russian. And then on top of that, it might also just be, it might be literally true. Like maybe the papers want to know what shirt you're wearing or whatever. But it says whose shirt you wear.
Oh,
so that's what makes me think it's like the political affiliation type of thing. Or it could be just speaking about just the banality of our media, which is here you have somebody doing something like ridiculously crazy with these giant implications, and then what are you worried about at the end of the day? What shirt he's wearing? It might be commentary on what the media focuses on versus what's important.
What's actually,
Although I'm not sure that the media was as silly back then as it is now.
I mean, to me, it sounded more likely that it was, whose side are you on? Who are we?
Right. I'm stepping through the door and I'm floating in a most peculiar way, and the stars look very different today.
I bet they do. When you're up in the midst of it rather than down here looking up at it.
Do you even see stars in space?
Honey, I have no clue.
Every time I see those NASA pictures, I never see stars. Hold on.
Don't you find that a bit peculiar?
No, I'm sure there's some physicists. Yeah, you see that? Like, Is that no, that's just the telescope stuff. Yeah, I've never seen like stars from outer space. I don't think you can see them from outer space. Like if you're in space, you know what I mean? Like right here, here's a picture of the Earth, but there's no stars around it. So, anyway.
Why wouldn't you?
I don't know what the explanation is. We'll have to get Neil deGrasse Tyson on the show. He'll help us. But yeah, so that's a strange line. Stars look very different today. Well, I'm assuming that David Bowie was assuming that if you get closer to the, you know, just logically speaking, the stars would look different. If you were...
Yeah, but you would think that you would see them. If you left your cabin in outer space, you would think you would see some stars.
Like I said,
but
I'm
that
sure
they wouldn't look like tiny little distant lights.
Well, I'm not sure that we're like that much closer to where the stars would be significantly bigger. I mean, they're light years away. So I don't think, you know, from here to the moon is going to significantly alter that. What our perception of them phenomenologically.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't think so. But like I said, up there you don't even see them. Like I've never seen like a moon landing picture or whatever that also includes a bunch of stars.
No.
So that's a little strange to me for sure. I'm like I said, I'm sure there's some physicist explanation for it. Help me out here, Alec. Okay.
When he said, "For here I am sitting in a tin can, far above the world. Planet Earth is blue and there's nothing I can do." Like, I bet that's what it would feel like. Like, let's say you did go up. Like, you would... I think being in the vastness, like, you do kind of feel like that. I mean, even in a plane, for heaven's sakes. Like, you're kind of, you know, like the whole tin can. Like, if you're in a tin can, you're not very safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you kind of get that feeling when you, like... when you're up in the plane and you see like how like big everything is beneath you, like how much greater that would be if you were in outer space. Like, I think that it would show you even more, like, you know, people say they go to the Grand Canyon and when they're in the Grand Canyon they're like
they're blown away by
how small they are.
Right.
You know, in the vastness of the Grand Canyon. So
this is really interesting though. This is really interesting though, because if you think about it, this could be a very cynical, deistic definition of God. Here I am sitting on a tin can, throne, far above the world, heaven. Planet Earth is blue. Blue could also be sadness. You know, I'm feeling blue, and there's nothing I can do. See what I mean? So it could be like a really cynical vision of God too. Like,
but it doesn't say on a tin can. It says in a tin can.
I don't really think that there's much of a difference there.
You don't think that's what he's saying, right? You're just saying it.
Well, I don't know. These guys are pretty smart and they layer things like 5 deep, so I don't know. I'm just saying it's very interesting.
Yeah.
He's sitting in a tin can far above the world. The planet Earth is blue and there's nothing I can do.
I don't think that's what he meant, but I think that that's a very interesting observation.
Yeah, well, when you say, like, there's nothing I can do, like, what does that mean? What is there for you to do? You see what I'm saying?
I mean,
like, okay, it's like me saying your shirt is orange and there's nothing I can do.
yeah.
Well, that doesn't follow. So if he says the planet Earth is blue and there's nothing I can do, you know, the crisis doesn't happen until, like, this next time. It's interesting because here he says I'm floating around in my tin can, planet Earth, far above the moon, right? Mm-hmm. And there's nothing I can do. Well, in that context, it makes sense because there's nothing he can do to save himself, sure. But the first course, there's no crisis.
Right.
He's not in trouble. So what is he saying? There's nothing he can do.
I think that that's just another way of saying that how small he is in the midst of everything. Like, there's nothing that I can do. Like, here I am. I'm above the world. I'm in this little tin can. The earth is blue. There's nothing that I'm just here.
Yeah. Just doesn't follow to me. It doesn't make sense to me. Unless he's like, if he's talking about God, this is the most brilliant sneak diss of all time. And I'm not necessarily sure it's even a diss. It just might be, you know, like from a deist. We talk about atheism a lot, but you know, there's the deistic idea that God just like up there looking at it and going, oh, that's interesting. Although in deism, there is something God can do, but he just doesn't have the interest to do anything. He's just an observer. And he's got, you know, trillions of other planets and such to create and walk around and look at other than ours. And so, you know, but anyway, it's just very, 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 it's a very interesting course to me. It's very provocative, I think. Though I'm past 100,000 miles, I'm feeling very still. And I think my spaceship knows which way to go. Tell my wife I love her very much. She knows.
That's their response factor, I think.
Yeah, your circuit's dead. Something's wrong. And now he's floating in his tin can. Now he's in trouble.
Oh, yeah, because what is he doing before? Is he sitting in his tin? Yeah, he's sitting in it. Now he lost gravity.
He's sitting in it.
You know, supposedly, if they really did this, there's something.
I cannot believe that you're at that high level of doubt in the...
I am. You know, fill up the comment section all you want. I'm not going to read it.
Well, the funny thing is like the people that are like, come on!
No, I haven't researched it, though. You know, well, it's just this a few things that I've seen made me very suspicious. So if it was, you know, very important to me, I would be researching it.
Well, yeah, but like the people that like just take it for granted, the other side of that is like, well, how do you know? You weren't there. Most of us were not even a wink in our daddy's eyes in the 1960s. You know, none of us were alive in the 60s. So how do you know that it actually happened?
Right.
So on the one hand, I'm kind of like both. Like when I see somebody like you, I'm like, this is, I can't believe that she doesn't. But then when I hear somebody say that, then I'm like, well, how do you know really? How can you be so sure? I mean, it's not like we didn't have a motive to fake it. I mean, it's a space race between us and the Russians. So, you know, but I just think it's crazy. So he's floating around in a tin can. He doesn't know what to do. I'm past 100,000 miles. I'm still very still. I'm feeling very still. That's really, you know, like...
Oh, that's so claustrophobic.
Well, if you stretch, like, human achievement...
Yeah.
You know, that's like the pinnacle of human achievement.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's crazy.
And like, you're still, and you're basically at the mercy of the spaceship, and there's nothing you can do. So it's like, the higher we got in our you know, dominion of the universe, per se.
The more control we lost.
The more control you lost, yeah. So it's this really interesting, like, human beings, like, yeah, we figured it out, we conquered the air, and we've conquered space, and then you're at the mercy of a tin can, basically. But you know, flying in a plane is the same idea. It's like...
No, it's not.
You're in a how is it different? You're in a plane, it's a tin can.
Something goes wrong with the plane, I'm going to crash to the earth, and that's it. Something goes wrong in that spaceship, you're gonna float around.
I don't know. I don't know how long a person could actually survive in that thing.
I don't want to survive 24 hours knowing that I'm not surviving.
Well, I mean, don't you think that your friends would come get you?
You know how long it would take for them to come get me?
What do you mean?
If we were in outer space?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd take my chances in outer space in a plane crash. A plane crash, you're guaranteed to die. In outer space, I'm not sure.
Oh, I'd lose my mind. Trapped up there.
Well, yeah, you would lose. Yeah, that's probably what would kill you is your inability to stay calm in it.
I'd probably open up the door and breathe in the...
Well, no, you're wearing a helmet and stuff.
Yeah, I'd probably pull it off trying to like...
Yeah, you'd probably get yourself killed. But it's such a chill song. I like. Was there a saxophone? Did I hear a saxophone in there?
I don't know. It was a very dated sounding song. I know that.
Yeah, but it was a very chill song though.
Yep.
Can you hear me? Well, I liked "Can you hear me? Can you hear me?" And then they said "Can you?" And then he says "Here." I like that. That was pretty cool. Floating around in my tin can, far above the moon. What do you give the song?
It was 7.8.
7.8.
Yeah, I wasn't really a fan.
I really like this song actually. 9.2 for me. It's just very interesting. It's like, who's influencing who here? I thought Pink Floyd like singularly came up with that style of music and stuff.
Yeah, so did I.
But again, Dark Side of the Moon wasn't Pink Floyd's first record.
Oh, right. That's
so
true too.
They still could have came up with that whole style, and everybody just basically around that milieu basically copied them.
That's
it's very
true.
possible.
Yeah.
So musical historians, let us know.
Inform us.
Inform us. So we have returned sick, but we have returned. 2:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
David Bowie, Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone.